Maggie, Courtney, John, thank you for giving me your time to speak about this very compelling new series, Ballard. To kick things right off, I'll start with Miss Maggie. So your character obviously is such a very layered character, right? What was it like stepping into her shoes and occupying her headspace? How did you prepare to carry the emotional weight of this role?
Very good question. I had I have a really great mentor going into this. We all have consultants on the show, which is really great, but the books are based on one woman's career. And I think in building my relationship with her, I was able to really get true insight into the emotional weight that she carried in her life and in her 30 plus year career. I also was at her retirement party. And that was, I cried through the whole thing. Me and her mom, we
Wow.
just sat there holding hands and crying. Because the weight of what she did in her career was so evident there. I have to tell you, that was one of the best research nights. I didn't go there as a research night,
Yeah.
but I have to tell you that the levity and really the weight that I felt after that part, in a good way, the weight that I felt, meaning the seriousness of her career and what she did, what she accomplished, never left me. And I remember stepping into the role, bringing that with me, all the experience, especially because of all the detectives that got up there to speak about her that night. I was able to really, I closed my eyes through some of it because I had such a visceral, reaction and picture in my head about what she lived through. And that was huge for me, huge, very emotional.
Right on. Thank you for sharing that. Courtney, so your character obviously brings a very fresh perspective to the cold case team. What drew you to the role and what excites you most about your character's story arc?
What drew me to the role was the description of her in the audition. I thought she felt so powerful and so passionate about this work. And I don't think we get to see that often, especially a person of color in that field as a cop. I think it comes with a lot of trials and tribulations, but it mentions that a little bit in the description, but it talked about how good she was at this job. And I was like, oh, she sounds so cool. Like that drew me in. And also too, Michael Connelly drew me in. The people attached drew me in. Like everything felt like, oh, this is going to be this is not only going to be written really well, it's also going to be performed so beautifully. And what was the second part of that question?
What excites you most about her story arc?
Oh, what excites me most is that we kind of get to see every layer of her. I think it's easy for a person really to play one thing throughout an entire thing. And like, you know who they are and this is this character, that's so this character. However, with Parker, I think we unpacked so many growth moments. And it was such a hard and challenging thing for me to even experience while on set. So I truly can't wait for everybody to see how you grow on Parker and how Parker continues to like just learn so much more about herself throughout the series, which is really nice.
And John, of course, you have played a wide range of complex characters. What makes this one? What makes Thomas stand out, and how does he fit into the high stakes world of Ballard?
Well, I love his prime motivation to be in is really about loving Ballard. That's the key to the character's participation, that he's there in some ways. I think we discover in the series he's there to make amends to some degree about having lied for so long. And I love that about the journey of the character. I just also loved how much compassion the writing showed and how reflective that was of one of our consultants, Tim. It was so reflective of his compassion and empathy. And that was really fun to play.
This show tackles cold cases, but also exposes corruption within the LAPD. When people sit down to watch this series, what do you hope really hits them or stays with them?
You know, I think that part of the journey, we've talked about even with Bosch and then again in Ballard, is Michael Connelly writes two cops and four cops. We want police officers to see themselves in the series, for the experiences to be authentic to them. Obviously, I'm portraying a woman and the first female homicide detective in the LAPD. And so I want her struggles. There was a scene that I did in the show that I remember where she's faced with these men that she, for lack of a better word, clashed with, and she's confronted with them, physically confronted with them again. And I remember I shot the scene, and I went out back to the Video Village, and every woman had tears in their eyes, and every woman on set that day said to me, "I know exactly what Ballard was going through in that moment because I've been there. I've been bullied by someone. I've felt marginalized or small in the presence of someone." And when confronted with them physically, I did not know what to do, and the pain was very real. And so I want people to take away experiences. It doesn't matter whether she's a cop or a secretary or a janitor. It really doesn't matter. I think that suffering is a great equalizer. I think everybody goes through it at varying degrees, obviously. But I do want people to take away a human experience from what these cops go through, because their job is not easy. And it's one that I think that we don't have enough insight on. And so I hope people do take away how much these people do care, because the people that we worked with, you said it to me when we were working, there was a level of care that we never expected to see or experience. And it really, touched us. I know it touched me a lot. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Right on. Thank you. Courtney, Maggie, John, that's my time. Thank you for giving me your time today.
Thank you.
Thank you.